What is going on, goats out there across the world? It is 7:02 p.m. March 1st, guys. Welcome to Digital Goats Academy. I am your host, the Digital Goat, guys, where we just go over potential trade setups in the market. Just my own speculation on what I'm personally looking at, on this Wednesdays, guys. It is hump day, and as you know, we are always fucking it up. So I hope all the traders out there are already having a successful trading week. But let's get right into it, guys. I'm just talking about a couple of pairs that I'm just looking at over the course of this week. It is NFP week, guys, so pay attention to that. It is NFP week, so one thing that I've been addressing to my community is that we pretty much stay on the scalping side versus being on the swing side, guys. So, the market's going to have manipulation in there. And to be honest, in my personal opinion, even with the chaos that's been kind of going on, depending on what pairs you've been trading, the market's been pretty docile, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I wasn't trading aggressive knowing that it was NFP week, guys, but wow, we are in the first week of March, guys. I didn't even know this was the first day of March, man. I feel like that's a sign right there. Maybe good luck. I don't know. Somebody out there look that up for me. But yeah. NZD, USD, guys. Well, actually, let me look at the Japanese yen first. That's what I was actually going to talk about first. Just because I think we are in the phase where we might have a potential recovery. If you guys have been paying attention to the news, well, the news that deals with finances, you've been hearing the talks about the euro, seeing a more hawkish side, guys. In layman's terms, if you don't care for any of that material, guys, it just means that they're more positive. They're more positive, meaning that they're more bullish. Like currently, that's not saying that we're heading towards. Let's actually look at the euro while I'm talking about it. That's not necessarily saying that, they're reversing. But, if you guys been on my calls, we've had a lot of gaps in the market. I've pretty much, if you see my page right now, I've pretty much identified all the gaps that I could. And so it was just like, okay, we know that this index is going to produce that, but just where it's going to start filling off those gaps, guys. And you can see for the most part, the market has done that. Now, what's unique, and I haven't noticed that myself, is that we're actually back at the last place where the market dropped. Well, around that area, right? You see the market gap that's highest. Well, let me not use that. So if y'all see that, I'm talking about this high point right here. So this previous high, the market dipped down from, right? And we've almost, retraced somewhat back up to it. But what you can see is that we have actually retraced up to a previous low. Now, I pretty much think that it's going to keep rising, maybe even create resistance with this line that I just drew. Well, with this high based off that line I just drew. But, it has a potential to clear some of this, money that was left over due to the gaps in the market, guys. It just depends. But, you can't factor that in for this week. It's just get your money and go. But as we're just looking at structure right now, guys, this does look like a bullish move to me. And if we're just looking at this right here, you see a potential. Like I said, I'll be honest, I'm the worst at identifying head and shoulders, but for the most part, it's still playing out the way that it's supposed to look. Now, the only thing is which is kind of like a good sign based off of what we're looking at, guys. If this was the move and this wasn't like an aggressive inverted head and shoulder, which it was, this was the move. Are we at the end of the move, right? Have we all exhausted price being bullish, and do we want to come down? Obviously, you have to factor into news and what they're saying within the European Central Bank and any other entity that deals with the euro and all the other banks over there, guys. But for the most part, I can see us climbing a little bit higher. It just depends on if it wants to fill this gap right now. If we're just talking about it from a technical standpoint, if it wants to fill this gap right now, which I don't think. I think the move is still super. I wonder, can we do Hakanashi? Huh. I did not know that. I did not know I could just turn it to, wow. It's crazy. Have I always been able to do that? I feel like we weren't always able to do this. I don't know. But just a move like this, I do believe that the market is going to want to at least come back, pull back eventually. But this is aggressively bullish move. Based off the pattern that I'm seeing, guys, and based off the momentum, nothing seems like it's slowing down. The only thing is right now is that we're in consolidation. So it's kind of like either or. You just have to factor what happens out of that move. So if price breaks down, wait for the retest, you take the sell down. Obviously, it's if it did that, it's making the inverted head and shoulder invalid, guys, meaning that this was still a bearish move. If it breaks above, you catch the pullback. Well, let me show you. Because you're probably like, what? So if it broke down, and obviously it could break down a little bit lower and, decide to pull back whenever it's ready. But if it did that based off of consolidation, guys, because again, if you just turn it to a line chart, you can pretty much see that this is consolidating. And this is for the euro index. So you can't trade this physically, but you'll use this information against like the euro, whatever euro pair you're trading with, right? So this is consolidation. If it decided to break, I'm just hypothetically saying, if it decided to break down, your entry would be wherever it decided to pull back. And normally it's at the previous low. So if it did break down, it would be like a little bit something like that. See what I'm saying? But if we're still bullish, where are we at? Just the opposite, come back into the zone or come back into the consolidation point or at the top of the previous high and then take off from there. Now, the market's going to play and probably burst out a fake out within this if you're watching the euro. But the euro doesn't even open up until tonight, since I think like 4 a.m. Like you can't see it move until like 4 a.m. unless there's another version of the index that I'm not seeing. So any move that happens now that's already being priced in, you can expect the euro to react. So based off of what the euros are doing right now, you can expect the index to react the same way and give you that move, probably gapping up or gapping down, depending on what's going on. But again, guys, if you turn it to a line chart, you'll be able to see this information, so you're not necessarily confused. This is, I mean, look at this. Look at this move. You don't think the market's going to want to come back to this? Even if it's aggressively bullish, because I can see a fake out and then sweeping it back on the other side if we're just done on this inverted head and shoulder. But again, guys, it just depends on what price action gives us once we see the index open up, and then use that information. Like I said, let's actually look at the euro, and then I'm gonna go back to the Japanese index because it is open right now, right? Now, same thing right here, right? This is consolidation still. Like most people would identify this as, oh man, I'm looking at the market. Start to sell off, right? Because you're seeing a lower low and a lower high, right? Based off of like this higher high point, right? Wrong. The market really hasn't broken out of anywhere, right? Because we still have previous highs that the market hasn't retested. So the only thing you can assume right here, guys, is that this is consolidating, which it looks exactly like what? Not exactly, but identical to what we just looked at with the euro index, right? Now, with this behavior, right? With this behavior, if we see this thing pop down, then we understand that, okay, the euro is actually selling, and we don't really need the information from the euro to understand that until we get closer to the euro opening, we don't have to necessarily fear like the direction once we get a sense of what the market is trying to do. But what I normally play off of, guys, is depending on the last move and depending on what time we hit consolidation, I would normally say that consolidation is just, a pit stop in order to continue in that direction. So it'll create low points within that consolidation region or within that range and region. So if you just trap the market, right? Within support and resistance, man, we already know that resistance is the ceiling, support is the floor, right? So you just trap it within there. And this is actually one of the, I don't want to say easy because everybody just doesn't process it like that. But one of the more simpler strategy, guys, when you look at trading, you kind of want this stuff to happen because all you have to do is respond once you get a break. And the hardest part is for people being patient. So almost the same thing like we said with the Euro index, right? This is Euro USD. So this is the Euro against the United States dollar, right? So right here, it does look like it's selling. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we still need it to break either here or we need to break either here, right? And we'll only know that once the market decides to make up its mind on what direction is going truly. But we can assume that we're necessarily bullish, all right? And we're just because if you just back out to a higher time frame, let's do it by candles. All right, so this is a lot of candles, so bear with me, right? So in the past, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, yeah, I'll count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's a lot. We're just gonna do 4 hours. Uh, so 2.5 days basically. In the past 2.5 days, we've been bullish within this market, guys. Right? In the past 2.5 days, based off of when the market was open. Obviously, it's been longer than that, but based off the market cycle, right? The past 2.5 days, guys. So if you just look at that, unless we're getting, some type of pullback, which we've been kind of seeing the market try to go down, but really not respect that I'm actually trying to come down. We can assume that after this breakout, that more than likely the market will continue bullish. And if it does a fake out, it's only retesting in order to continue going up because this market is in fact bullish, right? And we've just hit a pit stop in order for the market to continue going up. So I'm not saying use that information like, oh man, obviously the market's bullish now. But it's like more than likely you can assume that, but you still play the game of okay, just like we identified with or addressed with the Euro index, right? If it decides to climb up here, we want to see a clean break. Same time frame. If we're looking on the hour, I want to see a break on the hour. And we're talking about a pretty big break that's going to actually bring back a retest. So don't look at it like this shallow kind of like break that I have, maybe a little bit higher. But you still want it clean. You don't want it to be like a small, like it's almost peeking its head a little bit. You want a full candle, a grown man, grown woman candle, however you identify it, guys, to be to identify like the break within that time frame. Same thing over here. And don't limit yourself to like this artistry, right? Don't say, oh man, I'm gonna just follow. No, obviously, when the market creates more data, use those data points. And whether it's creating support or resistance, once you get that break, once we have another level of resistance here, if it just breaks and is just breaking its previous high, you'll know that information once you get to it, guys, right? Pretty straightforward. So that's what I'm actually looking at for the euro. A lot of pairs against the dollar because I'm only looking for the dollar to recover. It's not open yet. So obviously once we get to like 7:45, 7:30, 7:45 is closer to 8 o'clock, guys, we'll see the dollar index open and probably gap whatever direction it's going to go. But let me talk about the Japanese index and then I'm gonna go into the dollar index, guys. Now I'm using this information while why am I talking about this? You don't trade with the indexes. I mean, you can trade with the dollar index, and I'm not sure if other countries can trade with their own indexes when it comes to foreign exchange trading, guys, or foreign exchange trading. but you can use this information again with multiple currencies. So that's why it's important looking at it, even if you are not, fully understanding what's going on or intimidated just by how the structure looks, because it's giving you like way too many gaps. So you can't really find your data points. I already gave you guys the hint that turn anything to a line chart if it's getting confusing. You know what I'm saying? But right here, we've kind of seen a potential sign of one, uh, the dollar has been going down, if you guys have been paying attention. So the dollar has been decreasing in value, just a little bit, nothing too major where, everybody's like recession time. But I think that is actually going to allow, the Japanese index. One, it's been showing signs that, man, I potentially want to get bullish, right? I potentially want to be on the positive side. And right here is what I want to show you guys is where on the technical side, because again, my fundamentals are basically what news outlets say, for me to gather that information. But on the technical side, you just look at it. This is a tall tale sign right here, guys, that we could potentially see bullish momentum. But we have already we have been, and I'm just talking about for a recovery. Everything that I'm looking at, whether it's the dollar, whether it's the Japanese yen, I'm looking at it to recover, guys. I'm looking at it for it to potentially, well, when I say recover, retest. For all my traders, you understand it as retesting, right? So right here, again, this looks like a crazy looking inverted head and shoulder, and I can see it playing out just to recover, guys, right? And we may dive deeper if it decides to. Man, there is an indicator, and I'll show you guys next time. One of my homeboys put me on an indicator that allows you to see the head and shoulder. I didn't know that there was one that existed out there. So let me see if I can find it real quick and see if it identifies that head and. Yeah, I might be reaching for that one. Just on the pattern. Where is it at? Well, it's not showing that. Yeah, it wasn't showing it. So either way, this is a bullish engulfing, even though you can't identify the structure that well. So if you just look, the market has been maintaining slightly above this zone, or above this candle, or above the low point of this candle, the previous high of this candle, without coming back down, guys, right? So is this open? So Japanese index isn't open either for whatever reason. What time frame is it? It should open soon, so it probably opens up with the dollar. But anyway, it's been maintaining above this zone, guys, pretty much the previous high of this market. So, and it's been creating structure. If you look at it, it started consolidating, creating structure within this market. So, unless we get a push down, we can probably get like, a fake out and then a push up that will start collecting more of this money that the banks dished out in order to still drop the market back down. So, I'm definitely looking at the Japanese index to continue selling off, but I am looking for a possible recovery or retest, guys, in order to pretty much drop the market, continue to drop the market down, because this is overall bearish. You can clearly see that, but we know that it's not just going to straight go bearish, guys. It's going to do its crazy pullbacks, as you can see, like on this side before it got aggressively bullish again. It threw some loopholes at people before it actually started popping up, and then we got to the selling point right of the market. So let me actually look at. I'm not going to give necessarily setups, but I'm going to give you guys on what I was already looking at. So we actually took this trade earlier this morning. Well, y'all pretty much got an entry. So if you look, we took this trade earlier this morning. We made 46 pips. The market dropped down. So this was it this move? This was the first move. So yeah, we had like two or three opportunities to jump in, like for like 10, like 25 pips before the market actually made its way 47 pips down. So you can see it started pretty much playing up into the zone. Guess what? This is consolidation over here, guys. So identify that, spot that when you look at the market, right? It's consolidation. What have I always said about consolidation, guys? Is that the market loves to come back to that zone, right? As far as like it's attracted to consolidation. We even have another consolidation point higher up. Look. So say this market was to shoot up instead of coming down, right? Our next zone would be, which would actually be the better form of resistance, would be up here, and it would be a no-brainer why the market came up here on the technicals, right? Obviously, we gotta respond to how the market moves, but on the technicals, it would be a no-brainer why the market comes up here, guys. So what I'm looking at, I'm still looking at selling pressure right here, guys. If you just look, again, we have another form of consolidation. The market did break up out of that. Very straightforward. The market did break up out of this consolidation zone. We even had a retest, and I think we're having our, break and retest where the market is deciding to come all the way back down. Really, this is the initial, because how far did we come up? Yeah, so to me, this was the retest, and obviously this is the structure that we need to bring the market down. So I am looking for the dollar to start, again, retracing back pretty aggressive, actually creating support around like a previous low that it had in the market. So yeah, before it gets bullish again. So one, we have this big consolidation. We have this big consolidation zone right here. So my first checkpoint would be I suspect that the dollar is going to make its way somewhere all the way down here. We definitely have this liquidity that it left over. So I can see the dollar retracing back to 102, somewhere around there. Now, if it decides to continue lower, my last zone would be back to, pretty much a dollar even. And then from there, we can look at the potential of the dollar starting to get bullish again, guys. And I'm talking about aggressively bullish. I do not think that we're out of the woods when it comes to inflation, as far as like the dollar rising, which is like strap your seatbelts in, people. If you haven't really gotten your finances straight, because I know everybody got hit pretty hard when it came to COVID and just, the aftermath and stimulus checks and Red Lobster, right? But all jokes aside, for real, guys, take your finances a little bit serious when it comes into like this new storm that we might be heading into. But again, if you're trading, you obviously will see it coming and know what's going on. Everybody else it'll be a complete culture shock to them again. But that's what I'm looking at. So that does back up my bias on looking at the US dollar USD JPY to start dropping off, guys, and some other currencies getting bullish. I am looking at NZD USD to continue bullish. Again, we're in consolidation. I do think that we can still pull back, back to, lower points. But overall, guys, I think the trends are still speaking for themselves, and we haven't really slowed down on the direction that we want to take. So if you just kind of spin this upside down, let me show y'all. Does it look like selling? I mean, we know that we're buying, right? But does it look like selling momentum to you? Do you see areas where you would potentially see the market coming down, or do you see the market potentially going up based off the patterns? Obviously, they're backwards because I inverted it, guys. So the colors are inverted, meaning that buying is look like we're selling and selling looks like we're buying. But if you look right here, guys, like to me, this looks like selling pressure on the inverted side. Not to confuse you, we're buying, obviously. But if I turn it back, kind of makes me feel a little bit more comfortable to say that, man, I don't think we're, coming back down here, or we're retracing any lower than this original zone, because all we are is at a pit stop right now. again, we still have to wait for the breakout. And don't get caught with your pants down with the fake out. So if I'm looking at anything, once we get, I really like this break, but it could dive a little bit deeper. Once we really get this true break, true break, like a strong candle, it don't got to be crazy aggressive. Something like that, maybe even just a little bit stronger and come back down to the zone. I think this is a good zone for a retest for the market to continue for buying up, but obviously wait for it to finish this consolidation. We're at 7:27 p.m. Eastern time, so you guys will probably have to wait like 20 more minutes, 30 more minutes for that index to open up, for that dollar index to open up, and that'll definitely start telling us what it's trying to do. So good luck out there, guys. As always, if you find value in this channel, guys, always hit that like button, comment. I enjoy the feedback. If you guys want to see some stuff in the future, subscribe. If you guys keep forgetting, man, I know some of you guys are always probably moving at a million miles an hour and keep forgetting to subscribe. So subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you guys stay up to date on all my content. Thank you guys for always the support. And as always, guys, see you at the top because we're taking everybody to the top with us. See you guys tomorrow for my community and everybody else. I'll see you guys next week.